Sound, a critical component to elevating entertainment. It changes the very fabric of our experience when we hear what's on screen or what's in front of us. For example, a song change could make a scene in a film funny instead of scary, or hopeful instead of dreadful. Mixed with the visual, sound transforms our entertainment. And today we're going to look into movies and theme parks and find out what movie-based theme park attraction uses sound to completely immerse its guests in a different world or worlds. So stick around to the end. This is going to be a fun one. Oh, and if you don't already know, this is Cine Park Rangers. I'm John, and at this channel we talk about all things movie and theme park related and how those two things overlap. I'd love for you to join us for future videos, so don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all those sorts of things. I would love to hear from you on this video in particular. I'm still a small enough channel to be able to interact in the comments, so please talk to me in the comments. I love it. Now, for a moment, I want you to think about your favorite movie. What's the first thing you think about? Is it a line a character says? Maybe it's an iconic moment where the hero saves the day. Maybe it's a sense of terror and dread that's stuck with you since you were a kid watching a movie your parents told you not to watch, but you did it anyways. And now you love said movie. All right, and now I want you to think about your favorite theme park, the sights, the smells, and you guessed it, the sounds. Now, thinking about that movie and thinking about that theme park, you're probably wondering, how do they accomplish this? Well, sound designers utilize music and a technique called Foley to immerse its viewers or guests into the world of film or park or ride that they're experiencing. In film, these techniques have been used since 1927. The Jazz Singer was the first feature-length film to incorporate synchronized sound for sequences of dialogue. And those techniques would, of course, be improved upon over the years and develop into a state-of-the-art format like Dolby for audiences today. Now, recently, I had the opportunity to go see Dune in Dolby, and what I noticed was Dolby is one of those formats that kind of transcends the normal film-going experience. So instead of just, having like your normal 7.1 surround sound or whatever it is, I can't remember exactly what it is in every theater. It might be 12.1. I forget. It doesn't matter. Think about how sound hits you in a movie theater. And if you've been to a Dolby theater, you know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, I'm going to try and explain this in the best way possible. It is louder, a little bit, marginally. But the point of Dolby isn't just to be blasted by the loudness of the sound. It's to immerse yourself using sound. For instance, the voices at the very beginning of the movie were the first thing that caught my attention because they just hit you kind of in the chest. You feel it almost like through the seat a little bit. It puts you right there in the action, which is really, really neat. And then the sequence where Paul rides the worm was one of those things that compared to a 4DX experience, the seat actually shook while he's riding the worm, and you feel like maybe you're with Paul on the worm as he's riding it. And it's something just magical. I don't really know how else to explain it other than that. Now, that coupled with Hans Zimmer's incredible score create this experience that is unlike anything else I've ever been to when it comes to a movie theater. Now, before I had this Dolby experience and before I even knew what Dolby Cinema was, in film school, I watched A Quiet Place. And my film school actually has one of the only THX certified theaters on the East Coast, like for mixing THX, I guess is what that is. I actually never really understood what it was, but I knew it was some state-of-the-art thing that our film school had, that there was only one other one, I think, on the West Coast, and yada, 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 right? So we were able to watch A Quiet Place in this theater, and this is a film that relies completely on sound. If you think about A Quiet Place for a moment, the whole point of the movie is they can't talk because these creatures will come after them almost instantly as if you talk. And the movie sets this up perfectly, of course, and it's very sad, but it sets it up perfectly in the beginning so that you understand the stakes. Now, this was no small job for the incredible Foley artists that worked on this movie. They were having to do footsteps constantly. They're having to do rustling and moving things on tables and doors shutting and you name it. It's like this for every movie, but for a film like A Quiet Place that specifically utilizes sound to its benefit, it's critical that the Foley artists are on their A game. And man, are they on their A game for A Quiet Place. If you've never watched A Quiet Place, I highly encourage you to watch it. And if you also haven't seen A Quiet Place, I'm about to spoil something a little bit at the end. So spoilers for A Quiet Place. At the end of the movie, Krasinski sacrifices himself, and basically the whole film up to this point, we aren't really talking. It's a lot of, like small conversations maybe, and at the end you really feel the gravitas of his sacrifice because it's the first time out in the open he screams where these creatures can hear him, and it's of course to sacrifice himself so his family can get away. It's a moment that you remember, and yes, you remember it visually, but it's burned into your brain because of the sound. Now, sound in theme parks evoke similar provocations from our senses. Perhaps you hear music from one of your favorite movies as you walk by, or maybe there are actual live performing musicians on the streets of where you're walking. Maybe you're hearing delighted screams from other guests as you're walking around the park or waiting in line. But let's examine sound in two specific themed areas of two different parks and kind of look at the two different approaches that they took. So Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is, of course, in Disney's Hollywood Studios and also over in Disneyland in California. And the idea was to immerse guests into a specific moment in Star Wars. More or less, they want you to roleplay, and therefore there's no music except for when important characters show up, and there's only a couple of those, or if you're actually riding on a ride, one of the two rides that they have. You hear ships flying by, and in Oga's you can hear aliens talking, and at Docking Bay 7 Food and Cargo you might hear machinery whirring and food cooking and things of that nature, right? But overall, the experience is for the park visitor to become a person within this Star Wars universe. I think it doesn't quite stick the landing, and I think that for a few different reasons, but today let's just focus on the sound part, right? The biggest piece that's missing here for me, and it's a piece that they actually do include on an attraction right outside of Galaxy's Edge called Star Tours, is the iconic John Williams music. You need that, right? You want to feel like you're actually in a Star Wars movie, not just part of a Star Wars story. And those are different things, I think. There are maybe D&D campaigns or RPGs that make you feel like you're a part of Star Wars, right? But when you're in a theme park, the whole point is to be placed into the center of your favorite films. So I think that this is something that Galaxy's Edge could improve upon, just simply by adding some music, right? If we heard iconic themes from Williams' score, like Across the Stars from the prequels, or of course the iconic, from every Star Wars movie, and we sort of are able to feel that as we're walking around the park, it's going to make you feel like, hey, I'm in Star Wars land, simply by hearing something. Now, to juxtapose this and to look at a different approach, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure and soon-to-come Epic Universe uses that John Williams score the moment that you walk into the park. Yes, there are magical sounds throughout the park, but you're also greeted by the various John Williams tidbits as you go to different attractions and as you're walking around different areas. You have, the classic bum 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 bum, or you have the all that stuff makes a difference while you're walking around the park. And excuse my singing there. But I think that for park visitors, it's important to look at stuff like this, right? And it's something that gets me excited. If I'm going to visit Harry Potter Land, Harry Potter World, whatever you want to call it, I want to feel like I'm in the movie, right? I want to feel like I'm actually part of a story that I've already seen. And the world kind of assumes that you already know what's going on anyway, so why not just drop you right in the middle there and not have to worry about role-playing? Certainly you can role-play if you want. That's not everybody's thing, though. So I think that Universal has the right approach in that sense for a heavily, highly detailed themed land. And one of my favorite touches at the Wizarding World is actually if you go to the bathroom, and I don't think it's every single bathroom, but there are some specific bathrooms where if you're inside, you hear Moaning Myrtle talking to you, and it's just another element of sound that really drives home that you are in the Harry Potter universe, for better or for worse. So considering those two approaches, I think that when it comes to using movie properties within a theme park, it does bode well to utilize the music or the score from that movie your land is based off of. And by and large, most of the lands do this. And while I can appreciate what Disney is trying to do with Galaxy's Edge, or has tried to do with Galaxy's Edge for the entirety of its existence, I think that they should tweak some things and change some things to make it even better. So now that we've looked at sound in film and in theme parks, let's look at a theme park attraction, a movie-based theme park attraction that I think utilizes sound the very best. In 2014, Guardians of the Galaxy changed the way that audiences looked at a superhero team that they might be unfamiliar with. James Gunn's ragtag group of heroes elated the hearts of viewers everywhere from the very first sequence, using Redbone's Come and Get Your Love as Star-Lord dances around kicking and shooting alien rodents to secure the object that he's stealing, which we of course know is an Infinity Stone. And the film's soundtrack hit the right notes of nostalgia for older audiences while making the music fun still for younger ones. And Disney translated this to Cosmic Rewind perfectly. As you're on the ascension of this ride, the Guardians are briefing you on the mission. You may make it, you may not. All the different things and their corks are playing along with each other, all while their score is playing. Not the soundtrack, but the movie's score is playing in the background. And the spaceship is making noise, and there are different sci-fi noises that are happening. There's engines whirring and all the different things, right? And it's inundating you loudly in this chaos. When you reach the top, you're met by a celestial that is up to no good, of course, and he triggers this portal to slip you through time and space, and the Guardians cue up one of 6 songs as they declare that you can't kill rock and roll. This puts the rider in the driver's seat in the middle of the action, and it could not be more hype. You'll either get Conga by Gloria Estefan, Disco Inferno by The Tramps, Everybody Wants to Rule the World by Tears for Fears, I Ran by A Flock of Geese of Seagulls, One Way or Another by Blondie, or my personal favorite, September by Earth, Wind & Fire. And as the ride takes you around, you hear the Guardians do battle with the Celestial, and the whole thing brilliantly marries the best thing about the movies with some of the most advanced and innovative technology in any modern ride. So with all of that in mind, I really do want to hear from you. Is there a theme park attraction that you currently love, or perhaps one that's now defunct that you remember because of certain sounds? Let me know in the comments, and again, like, comment, subscribe for more videos. I really appreciate you checking this one out. I'm really trying to grow this channel, so if you could, share it around. I would appreciate it. All right, now get out of here. Kiss, kiss, goodbye. I'll see you in the next video.